Looks like I am live. Hello, everybody. Let me close a couple windows so we have better bandwidth. Bear with me as I'm doing that. How is everybody now? And if you want to come and visit, I have one spot that opened up for the retreat next week with 1 year of support for only $1,250. So if you're one of these people that make quick decisions, grab that spot because that pricing will not come back. $1,250 for 1 week here at Soulfire Farm, customized retreat for 4 people, and 1 year in my mentorship with 12 meetings every month, unlimited support, one-on-one video coaching. It's the deal of a lifetime. But you got to be here next week on Tuesday. So if you have time, send me a PM and I can tell you more about it. And we would love to have you. Okie dokie. So today I want to talk about how to avoid scary experiences and even accidents. Sadly enough, I was talking to two female horse lovers, hi Barbara, last week that are not part of my program. And as it happens, both of them had an accident this week. And I firmly believe that both accidents could have been avoided. And I want to talk about that. What can we do to avoid scary experiences for ourselves, as for our horse, and even accident? One horse gets to keep his home, and the other one is being sold with now a history of having caused a serious accident with a human breaking the L4 vertebrae. And we all know what probably the fate for this horse will be, because very few people will want to have a horse like that, right? And it is not the horse's fault. So let me take a quick zip here. And I'm going to close a couple more windows before I get started with talking about this super important subject, because this is so prevalent in the horse industry. And like I always say in my mentorship group meetings, horsewomanship should be like going to the mailbox. Can I go to the mailbox, stumble and fall and hurt my leg or something else? Of course I can, but what are the chances? And truly, from the bottom of my heart, I firmly believe that horsewomanship can be absolutely that way, as long as we are willing to set ourselves and our horse up for success by letting go of control, pressure, dominance-based training techniques, and even treat-based training techniques, because clicker training, treat-based or focused training techniques make a connection with the treat and not with you. And you cannot click away fear, and we cannot click our horse to connecting with us. The key is that we become the lead mare, and that our horse sees us as the gatekeeper of his or her confidence, safety, security, that in a case of a scary experience, our horse will look for us for guidance. That's the one thing. The other thing is that we have to help our horse live in human's will, where potentially scary things can happen. The other day, I was trimming my horse's feet, and my neighbor decided to do target practicing without letting me know. So suddenly we had a gun go off in the neighbor's property, something that in Germany would be absolutely impossible, but rather normal here in the US. So how can we help our horse to stay calm and cool when something like that happens, or if the deer jumps out in front of us on the trail, or if a branch hits our horse suddenly while being out on the trail, or a plastic bag becomes airborne and floats through the air. That was one of my experiences after my accident that caused me to completely freeze on my horse, and I had a panic attack. I was screaming and yelling and crying, and my body was unable to function, and I had to be lifted off my horse. And all of these experiences that I have had in my life, and also experiences that were shared by my students, and also experiences from students that did not listen to my advice, have more and more formed a step-by-step program that can help you to live and ride with confidence safely, right? Can freak accidents happen? Absolutely, right? When I had my jaw broken as a kid, when a pony kicked me, one of the, I guess, most common accidents with breaking a jaw back then was people doing stupid things at home and falling off a ladder or something like that, right? So yes, things like that can happen, but we can set ourselves up for success with our horses and absolutely minimize and even eliminate scary experiences and even accidents. So how do we do that? Let me see here. While I was closing windows, I lost my, there we are. I lost my window. So how can we avoid scary experiences and accidents? I want to talk a little bit about what has happened with the two cases that I talked about before, because to me, that is a very typical scenario. And you might even be personally able to relate to that, or you might know somebody that has experienced a similar thing. So in the first case, the lady bought a horse that was advertised as a trail horse. She looked at the horse, she liked it, the horse, the current owner said that the horse was trailering fine. She never checked out whether the horse trailered fine, and the day that she picked up the horse would not load. And the trainer that then was called in caused the horse to flip over backwards, and then called in her friend to herd in the horse with her Australian Shepherd into the trailer. That trainer then took the horse for a 30-day training session. So that was the beginning of the story. I don't understand why the horse went to the trainer that used the horse to flip over and then used an Australian Shepherd to herd the horse in the trailer. I don't understand that, because clearly we see the warning signs. Somebody with very little knowledge not being able to handle a horse that has fear issues. The tricky thing with something like that is that we humans become goal orientated, and that there is a current in the horse industry that says, show the horse who's boss, don't let him get away with it. The horse is trying to get out of work, make him do it. And that causes people to apply more and more pressure. And what happens is the horse goes more and more into self-preservation and self-protection, in fear mode, and that's when scary experiences and accidents happen. Now, here's the thing. Why do people use still control and pressure? Because it works to a certain extent. Number one, we have dominant horses in the herd. Mostly, as a good example, the dominant stallion. Every 1.5 to 2.5 years, a bigger, bolder, more powerful, more assertive stallion will challenge the current stallion and will win the battle, the fight, to become the herd stallion. Why did nature create a pattern like that? Because there has to be new gene pool coming into the herd. So the stallion only stays in his job for a limited period of time. And we want the powerful, dominant, agile, brave stallion, right? As gene pool. So nature has a way to make that happening just by the way the herd hierarchy and the herd dynamics work. So the stallion is responsible for procreation and protection. He needs to be powerful. He needs to be brave. He needs to be aggressive. He needs to have that physical power to fight because that's his job. But no horse follows the dominant stallion. All horses follow the lead mare. The lead mare does not assume her position through fight and being more dominant than another mare in the herd. Quite the contrary. Lead mares are often older and not as physically agile as younger mares, but they have the experience, the wisdom, and the willingness to make benevolent decisions in the herd. The lead mare will not say, and right now I'm anthropomorphizing, but you know where I'm coming from. Oh, I'm just gonna stand here and watch everybody go through the raging river, and then I'm gonna decide when I want to follow you or not. The lead mare will also not be behind the herd and push the herd through the river. The lead mare will walk through the river first. It's very important. And so here we have the setup, how we, the female heart-centered horse lover, can rise to a position where my horse says, of course I will follow you. Is the river scary? Of course the river is scary. Do I believe in you as the lead? Yes, I do. That's why I'm going through the river. But our horses don't even sometimes want to go through a puddle. It's very, very important to look at that these horse behaviors that come from a perspective of being the prey animal, being in self-preservation and self-protection, come from a position that the horse does not see us as the lead. So it is up to us to be willing to look at ourselves and our actions and what we need to change to become the lead mare in our herd of two or more. So from my perspective, my program isn't for everybody, right? Not for everybody. But it might be perfect for you and your horse if you believe in interconnection, if you believe in love, peace, and understanding, and if you are willing to work on yourself to rise to the occasion to become the lead mare. To me, that is a fascinating journey, and it will influence not just your horsewomanship, it will influence your entire everyday life. You will be able to do things that you previously were not able to do. You will become more confident and braver. You will be able to rise to the occasion to say no and to stand up for your beliefs and for what is important to you. Because as heart-centered horse lovers, we usually have a hard time setting boundaries, standing up for ourselves, and saying no when other people say, why not? You should say yes. And that is that wonderful journey that we can actually have and experience together with our horse. So you as the lead, right? That we rise to that occasion, that we work on lead mare qualities. Now, what are the steps for our horse to see us as the lead? So in the Happy Horse Inventory, if you have participated in last month's doing workshop, You and Your Horse Can Canter Confidently, which by the way has a part 2 that is totally free. Right now I send out a questionnaire to all the students that participated, and I'm doing a free part where it goes more into self-development and riding. according to the feedback from the students that participated. So don't miss out on those doing workshops. That's why I call it doing workshops. First of all, you will be set up throughout the workshop that you can evaluate your own relationship with your horse depending on the monthly subject. So we're going to say, okay, here you are, here is where you want to be, and these are the steps that you will have to take to get to where you want to be, right? So it's so hard with the camera. Here's where you are, here's where you want to be, and these are the steps to where you want to go. So that's why it's called a doing workshop. You're not just sitting there and you're just listening in. You're actually working on your own inventory. And once in a while, or maybe every time, depending on how I have time, I will ask you for feedback. And then there might just be another workshop or a workbook or something comes out of your feedback because you're actively taking action that I can use and give you even more valuable information. So in this doing workshop, we talked about how you and your horse can confidently. And I went through the steps of the happy horse inventory and the pre-ride safety check. So that workshop isn't just for you if you want to canter confidently. This workshop is for you to go through the steps to see where your horse is at when it comes to mental, emotional, and physical balance. So your horse actually qualifies as a safe, secure, and confident riding partner. So happy horse inventory and the 4 key elements that you need to go through. Number 1, healthy boundaries. A, with your horse. Very important. Number 2, with yourself. Because a lot of times we female heart-centered horse lovers have thresholds and we're ignoring them because well-meaning relatives, friends, barn owners, riding buddies says, oh, just get on. Just get on. Don't let your horse get away with that. Show your horse who's boss. He's trying to get out of work. Make him do it. And I can only highly say, please, please, please do not listen to other people. Listen to your own intuition and work on your own thresholds. So boundaries between you and your horse, boundaries for yourself and your thresholds, boundaries for all these well-meaning people around you that want to give you input, but that is really not in line with what your beliefs are, how you want to treat your horse, and how you personally want to move forward in your horsewomanship journey. This is very important that you are not making compromises here. Oh, it's unpleasant, oh, this is somebody that, is an expert. I can't say no. Yes, of course you can say no. Because if you don't, you're violating the trust that you have built between you and your horse. And then no wonder if your horse does not look for you for guidance if you violate your horse's trust. Very, very important. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries in these 3 areas. Next, mini and micro thresholds. So what happened with a horse that reared and fell over in front of the trailer, mini and micro thresholds were missed. The little things were missed, and then something as big happened because the human applied pressure behind the horse. The trailer meant pressure to the horse, and the horse didn't see another opportunity but to just go up. And what happened with that horse then, it came back, and that's how I actually met the lady. And he was pulling the lead rope out of his human's hands and wouldn't stay around during lunging and leading and all of that. Can you blame the horse? No, you can't. Because the trainer that was paid money, okay, set the horse up for failure. Of course the horse didn't want to stick around with treatment like that. I wouldn't want to stick around, would you? Mini and micro thresholds. With mini and micro thresholds come the triple X relaxation strategy, that idea that we're looking for where is my horse capable of finding relaxation mentally, emotionally, and physically. Hang on for a second. And I start there. I don't start away from the barn property where my horse is already freaking out, right? Again, that's what happened with a horse. Human went on a trail ride on her own property. Horse couldn't handle the environment, spooked, bucked off the human, and she broke her vertebrae really, really badly. Okay, this is a bad, bad accident. That horse has residual tension and fear and brace and tension and worry and stress in his life. So, so sad. And now he's just being passed on to who knows what, right? And it's human made. Now, if something has happened to you like that before, what you don't know, and it's not your fault. But the key is, I'm here to help you not go through another scary experience or even accident, right? It's very important. So this idea of the triple X relaxation strategy, first of all, we start where our horse is relaxed, where we have mental, emotional, and physical balance. And then whenever our horse loses relaxation, what does that mean when our horse loses relaxation? Brace, tension, stress, worry, anxiety, fear shows up. That's when your horse is not relaxed. Then we go back to relaxation. So we can end with relaxation. That can be an actual place, like going back into the pasture. That can be a task our horse is familiar with. That can be doing smaller steps. That can be repeating what we asked because we weren't clear. That's where we really have to look at, why is our horse losing relaxation? And a lot of trainers and programs and instructors will tell you, when your horse loses relaxation, show him who's boss, don't let him get away with it, make him do it. And the additional pressure is what causes scary experiences and even accidents. And last but not least, this idea of communication in lightness, this idea that we're using 100 gram or 3 ounces because our horse can feel a fly on his or her body, right? Our horses are that sensitive. So we want to help our horse to never feel the need to push into pressure or to pull against pressure, because of how we show up and how we teach our horse to yield and follow. And a big part of that is as you show up. Because when you show up in a way that you're the lead and you're making good decisions, and your horse always feels confident and safe and secure in your presence, why would your horse not follow on 100 grams on the lead rope? The horse only does not follow when they don't feel okay. So one of my pre-ride safety checks is, can your horse on the ground, being on a 12-foot lead rope, walk, trot, stop, back up, and turn with you in both directions with slack in the lead rope? The horse is not passing you. The horse is not staying behind. The horse is right there with you. That means your horse is following your intent, energy, and body language, and you're staying in that 100 gram, 3 ounce area. That loose lead rope translates to riding on a loose rein because your horse understands intent, energy, and body language and can follow it. So those are the 4 key elements. The 3 areas of boundaries, mini and micro thresholds, triple X relaxation strategy, and a lightness in your communication, 100 gram or 3 ounces. A lot of times, the second accident happened because the horse was fresh after the winter. And the human said, I noticed she wanted to run, so we waited for a straight, flat area and I allowed her to run. Please don't ever do that. Bad idea. Number 1, when my horse comes fresh out of the winter, I want to ask why. Was that horse locked up in a stall? Did that horse have 24/7 movement? Did that horse have 24/7 roughage? Did that horse have company, lived in a family, lived in a herd? We have to satisfy our horse's daily foundational needs in order for our horse to be the partner that we're dreaming of. Okay, so let's say your horse is a little bit fresh. You're bringing a horse out of the pasture, and what does it mean my horse is fresh? Hi, Michelle. Good to see you here. It means that our horse has extra energy, right? So lots of people that say, okay, my horse has extra energy, well, I need to get rid of that extra energy. So they're lunging the horse. And most horses that I see that are being lunged, they're looking away from their human and they're looking somewhere else, as in, I do not want to be here. If your horse doesn't want to be with you, bad, not good feedback. Hi, Anne, good to see you too. So it will be vital when we have a horse that is fresh to look at why that is happening. Why does my horse have extra energy? Maybe my horse has family and herd and 24/7 roughage and can move as he or she wants. But the mountain lion came through the pasture and the horses are still nervous. They can still smell it. They got upset. The herd bunched together and they're still out on the lookout. That is a bad idea to get on a horse when that horse is in that frame of mind. So we need to go through the happy horse inventory and we need to help our horse find relaxation, not get rid of the extra energy. You want your horse to find relaxation, safety, security, and confidence with you so your horse can be calm and peaceful in your presence. Never ever allow your horse to run. Ever. When you do that, you're not the lead. You're allowing your horse to take the speed that your horse would like to take. You're not, again, let's say that again. When you allow your horse to choose the speed, you are not the lead. So a lot of times we allow our horse to choose the speed at a walk. We just say, all right, we're walking, but we're not being clear of what kind of walk. Is it a medium walk? Is it a slow walk? Is it a fast walk? That's where the horse already says, oh, I can make decisions. I can walk the way I would like to walk. And we're losing our togetherness. And we're losing our position as the lead. And our horse is now in charge, above us in the herd hierarchy. And at the walk, we don't mind because, we like our horse to have a good walk going out on the trail, right? We want to cover some ground, right? And at the trot, then it's like, oh, my horse is going a little bit faster than I want to, a little half halt, little circles, little pulling back on the reins. Maybe at that point, the horse gets anxious, starts throwing her head. And we're like, why are you throwing your head? And then when it comes to the canter, the additional adrenaline of the canter then just blows things out of proportion. And in that case, the horse eventually bucked and the human came off and broke her femur. So we can be safe, secure, and confident with our horse when we're making smart decisions for our herd, not just for ourselves, not just for our horse, but for ourselves and our horse. And your key elements are go through the happy horse inventory, look at those 4 key elements, have a 1 and a 2 in each of the happy horse inventory tasks, do the pre-ride safety check. And last but not least, and this is going to be the exciting part because the workshop, this month's doing workshop, will be just about that. It will be about stop desensitizing your horse and learn how to use interconnected habituation. I was a Pirelli instructor for 3 years. And 10 years ago, I quit. Why did I quit? Because I realized that natural horsemanship, despite that it's oodles better than traditional horse training, still comes from the perspective of the dominant stallion, has an effective phase 4, which means you're making things happening, you're causing, right? In Pirelli, we used to say, oh, we don't make horses do anything, we just cause. Okay, I came to the realization causing is still making, because we still want to make things happen. We're still interested in the outcome. That feels like pressure to the horse, and a lot of times will cause us, the human, to overlook our horse's feedback in exchange for getting things done. It's just a bad idea. In the beginning, natural horsemanship will give you progress. And the reason why that is because horses do understand the language, horses do understand dominant language, and there is a horse psychology part in there that is admittedly helpful, right? But you will encounter a glass ceiling, and that glass ceiling will hinder you to have that heart-centered interconnection that you're craving if you are a heart-centered female horse lover. And so I saw it in myself. I saw it in my students. And that is because the horse just doesn't follow the dominant other horse. She follows the lead mare, and we need to become the lead. As I also felt that there was incongruency, and if I wanted to keep my integrity, I could not put the title Pirelli Natural Horsemanship Instructor in front or behind my name, because it did not mesh with my values anymore. And congruency is very important for your horse. When you are incongruent, your horse will know, because we wear a mask, we have a wall in front of us, we might, pretend to be somebody we're not, we're holding back, we're doing things we're not believing in. It can show up in all kinds of areas. But incongruency has a funky energy, and your horse misses out on clarity and consistency, and therefore on certainty. So going back to this idea of don't desensitize your horse, what I realized as a Pirelli instructor was that number one game was the friendly game, and it was called the confidence game. And what we were supposed to do was we were supposed to have our horse on a halter and a lead rope, and we were supposed to smack the ground with our stick and string and create noise and rhythm. And that noise and that rhythm was supposed not to mean anything, and our horse was supposed to stand there. And you can teach that to a horse, right? You can teach that to a horse. But here is what's happening. The horse is most likely tolerating, and you're developing brace, tension, stress, worry, anxiety, and fear in the horse, because the horse doesn't have a choice, the horse doesn't have free will, and the horse is not allowed to move. So I don't teach that at all anymore, but I teach interconnected habituation. And that will prepare your horse to face the flying plastic bag and the barking dog and the neighbor shooting off guns without telling you, and the turkey, flapping down from the tree in the morning when you're out on the trail. Whatever happens that has the tendency or the possibility for your horse to get spooked by, we can prepare our horse for situations like that while deepening our interconnected relationships. It's a fantastic strategy. It is easy to do. Any horse beginner can do it as long as you know the steps. And we will go through the steps. April 28th, 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time. If you are in my masterclass, if you are in my mentorship, that is a free workshop. If you're not in the program, then it's a $27 workshop. And right now, early bird and the first 20 people get the workshop for $7. So I just announced that yesterday, and if I remember right, I put that link I did in the comment section. So for $7, you get to spend 2 hours with me. You get the recording, you get your workbook, you get the checklist, and you will have that personal tailored strategy roadmap to help your horse with interconnected habituation and to stop desensitization, which keeps your horse in brace, tension, stress, worry, anxiety, and fear mode. And you will be able to release residual tension that might not even have anything to do with you, that might have been created during the first haltering as a baby, or with the previous owner, or with a trainer, or whatnot. We can resolve tension if we know how to do it. And that is a specialty of mine. I'm very excited about that because this is one of the things that we can help our horses the most. So I would really encourage you to sign up for that workbook and workshop and checklist and recording for $7. Scary experiences and accidents are avoidable when our horse sees us as the lead and feels safe, secure, and confident with us. And when we are being committed to being the gatekeeper of our horses' safety, security, and confidence. And when we are taking the vow to never betray our horses' trust and confidence because our ego is shining through and we want to get things done, or we want to do things that our horse isn't ready to do yet. That's when you can avoid scary experiences and accidents. In my opinion, it's a wonderful journey to become the lead mare, not only in your horsewomanship, but in your everyday life. And if you would like to join me, there is the workshop. And there is also the 30-day Get Started with Interconnection introductory course. And of course, then there is my mentorship success program where you can spend 10 weeks with me. And like I was beginning to talk about in the beginning, once in a while here on the farm, I have a retreat for max for people only. And one spot is right now available. $1,250 to spend a whole week with me here at Soulfire Farm. Bring your own horse, work with my horses, and come home with exponential growth that you would never be able to achieve on your own at home. Because we will be working in the morning and the afternoon, and we will be tailoring each lesson so that you and your horse will make a gigantic leap forward. And then you will have 1 full year, 12 months, 144 meetings, 144 opportunities for coaching, your 10-minute weekly video where I do one-on-one coaching, unlimited support throughout the year. I mean, it's just amazing. And that is the last time that I will be offering the workshop in that capacity for $1,250. And that spot just became available due to health issues. And if you feel it's yours, then PM me and we make that happen. All that needs to happen is you need to show up sometime here on Tuesday next week, which is April 18th. Amazing opportunity. You can check out through PayPal and even get your 6 months no interest financing through PayPal. And then it's a couple more than $200 a month. Wow. Wow, 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 for 6 months. Okie dokie. So I will get ready for my mentorship group meeting at 6 p.m. As always, be blessed and with lots of love, because love makes everything better, including our horsewomanship. Have a fantastic week. I see you again next week. And then, like I said, the last Friday of the month, like every month in 2023, we will be doing the Doing Workshop, which are theme-based workshops where you create your customized trailer tailored success map for yourself and your horse. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here with me. I love it. I enjoy hanging out with you. Thank you so much. And like I said, I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.